As the 2021 presidential election nears, 3 critical questions remained unanswered. Will the opposition parties, organization, formations and individuals this time unite behind a single joint candidate, or will it be a repeat of the 2011 and 2016 when they failed? Who would be the desired candidate if the opposition fields a joint candidate? What will be the fate of the opposition should they field many candidates instead of an individual? These and more questions answered in our special report on the failed political coalitions in Uganda by Bernard Iga, as we see here.
This movement came to power through a guerrilla war, and 2005 Uganda was governed under a movement system characterized by prohibition on formal political parties' activities. During this period, the historical political parties like the Uganda People's Congress and Democratic Party that had been at the heart of Ugandan politics since independence struggled to survive. In 1996, however, Democratic Party DP and Uganda People's Congress UPC set aside their long-standing differences and under the ban of the inter-party forces for cooperation supported the presidential candidacy of Paul Semogerere against President Museveni of the NRM. Museveni won that election. In 2001, Dr. Kizza Besigye defected from the NRM. Without a signed agreement, the opposition party, namely the Conservative Party CP, and the DP joined the Reform Agenda, a pressure group of others who had broken ranks with the NRM, and fielded Dr. Kizza Besigye against President William Museveni, but lost the incumbent.
We were told that only a soldier can remove Museveni, and therefore DP was discouraged from presenting a presidential candidate in 2001. We were told that we finally have President Museveni's former doctor, a military man who knows him in and out. Unfortunately, it did not happen.
After 2005 referendum that returned the country to multi-party democracy, the Forum for Democratic Change FDC, which was born out of the Reform Agenda, fronted its party president Dr. Kizza Besigye, who ran against President Museveni for the second time in 2006, but again lost. In August 2018, opposition political parties like Justice Forum JEMA, Conservative Party, UPC, DP and FDC signed the first Inter-Party Cooperation IPC protocol to work together in order to break the dominancy and weaken the position of the ruling National Resistance Movement in the run-up to the 2011 elections.
Later we had the IPC, which collapsed. And the party that caused it to collapse was the Democratic Party. We went to Kololo to launch the coalition, and DP, that was a front runner organizing everything with the donor community, did not appear.
The 2011 presidential ballot had 8 candidates after failing to front a single candidate, and Museveni won with 68%. In 2015, the opposition Democratic Alliance again failed to choose a single candidate to challenge President William Museveni in the 2016 presidential election. After weeks of deliberation, the 2 main candidates for the alliance's leadership were Dr. Kizza Besigye of the Forum for Democratic Change FDC, Uganda's main opposition party at the time, and former Prime Minister John Patrick Amama Mbabazi of the Go Forward team, the president of the opposition Democratic Party, and the support of Mbabazi's candidacy Nobert Mao, said the alliance could not reach a consensus because Dr. Kizza Besigye had not conceded, even though 7 out of the 9 entities that make up the alliance supported Mbabazi as the consensus candidate.
In 2016, many of us thought that the former Secretary General of the NRM and former Prime Minister and a very close confidant of President Museveni was capable of taking on his former boss and removing him. So in those circumstances, I withhold my judgment, because I've seen enough crowds in Uganda to know that it takes more to translate crowds into votes.
The TDA was again a group of political opportunists who wanted to ride on the back of the FDC. We detected that opportunism, and I, together with some young people, went to the TDA discussion and pulled out our candidate because we thought that the TDA was taking us in the wrong direction. We have been absolved. You can see what happened. Some of members in the TDA who were chest stamping, like Betty Kamia, Gilbert Bukenya, went back to the gut of the leopard where they belong. Mbabazi, who decided to run it all the way, you know what he got? And this brings to the forefront the fact that it's not only a single candidate who can cause a win. It is possible for candidates in the opposition to go their ways and run the campaign, but still win.
On the other hand, Besigye's supporters believed he should have been the Alliance's candidate because he had the most popular appeal in the country.
We had the late Biraro, we had a confused Abed Bwanika, we had Maureen Chalia, we had our brother Mabirizi, all those claiming to be opposed to Museveni. They all ran. And Ugandans said, no, we think that it's this one here who has got a better agenda. And they voted for Dr. Kizza Besigye.
It was Besigye's fourth time trying to unseat Museveni, who had been in power for almost 30 years. By then, Mbabazi, Besigye and others went into the election full blast and all lost to Museveni. To ensure a successful coalition this time, each party has set conditions on which they will not cooperate if their counterparts behave otherwise.
FDC is going to put in place a strong force that is going to protect its interests. We are not going to allow to be pushed, and we will not push back. Of course, it would be our joy if this happens. We would even be more grateful if the others said, look, you have got an elaborate structure, you are properly networked, and by the way, that is one of our strengths.
Are you operating from the mindset that it doesn't matter even if we don't agree on the two? Let's concentrate on the three around which we can work together, and then the two, we can engage in them separately. We are operating from that mindset ourselves, and we are hoping that all other political actors in the opposition would also see the sense in that, because you don't have to agree 100% for you to work together.
It is unrealistic to say that I am the best. That is a lie. But I want to tell Ugandans that at a time such as this, we need a leader who will be humble enough to say, I cannot do this, how can we work together?
Working together doesn't mean that we have to front one common candidate. We have so many things to do together, and we are almost agreed now that, for example, we need to protect the 34,444 polling stations, which I'm told are likely to be 35,000. I don't know by what formula, but that's the information I'm getting. And as far as I'm concerned, if we do that, that's quite a bit. Then there are many other things: sharing information, sharing intelligence, even joint campaigning.
Unfortunately, in Uganda, it seems whoever wants a coalition believes that the coalition should be to support him or her. And that is not the spirit of a coalition.
With all these conditions, one would wonder if the desire to have a single candidate would come to pass.
There is total, absolute disconnect between the leadership and followers of the opposition and anything to do with values, competences, policies. It is scary. So if you're coming to power for power's sake, should Ugandans vote you simply because they want to be crowned president? You must seek the presidency because there's something you want to do and they don't have it. The only thing they want to do is replace Museveni.
To Makerere University political scientist Mambusa Ndebesa, Winning votes and political support are totally different things the opposition has to deal with if they are to unseat Museveni.
In a country like Uganda, winning votes and winning legitimacy are not necessarily the same thing. So the issue is that NRM must be calculating, Museveni must be calculating, he understands the political landscape. He is not looking only at how many votes he will get. President Museveni is also looking at how is the political terrain, how is the political landscape in terms of political support, not in terms of votes per se.
Others think fronting many presidential candidates from each region will reduce Museveni's votes and deny him the 51% that portends a possible rerun.
Unfortunately, that will be sad because most Ugandans would prefer to have a clear choice between those who support the incumbent regime and those who want change.
But these people are too power hungry. Everyone wants to be president. They can't accept to unite.
Bernard Higa, UBC News.